absolutely. We need organizations, and we need people to lead those organizations to, tell people and educate people and persuade them to, help out with everything. But who's going to start it? There has to be somebody.
Can you start?
Maybe it's possible. You never know.
That's the thing.
Someone has to start.
We keep sitting there and we're sitting. Someone go do it. Aap kar lo, yo kar lo. Yeah, you do it. He does it. We talk a lot about it, but we need to get involved, get in an organization, sit down, get a couple, 2, 3 guys. It started out small. You don't think that you.
No, I think we have a lot of organizations already.
Right.
Who talk a lot, but obviously not taking specific action, not taking enough actions.
Right.
to address the issue, any of the issue against the Muslims. But what my question is that how important is the media, the Islamic media, the Muslim
media? Well, that's
media,
what I'm trying to get to. We need to get media organizations that are focused on just the media outlet, how we are portrayed to the American world, how Muslims are portrayed. For example, companies nowadays, they have an ambassador or a person working in their company just to see how their own company is portrayed on social media networks, how they look to people on Facebook, MySpace, if they're talking good or bad about them. In the same concept, if a company is doing this at a Coca-Cola, whatever the case is, but us as a Muslim organization, we don't have these things. We're really behind. We're really behind. So we need to get our act together. That's the basic gist of it.
But I think, in my opinion, especially people in the U.S., they're educated enough to know that when the media is trying to persuade them in some.
I disagree with you with that. There's a lot of people I meet.
That's fine, but
isn't their education start with the 10 o'clock news and end at 10:30?
Yeah, the people, our generation. Yeah. I agree. A lot of us are high school, college, but actually, there's so many people I know that I went to high school with. That's all they did.
It's not the education; it's more like awareness than education.
Right. So if, like you said, their educational time period is 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock news, whatever Joe Schmo says on TV for the next hour, you're gonna believe it because you're like, why are they gonna lie, or why are they gonna bend the truth for you to understand their point of view? So we need the same outlets, the same contradiction, even same maybe if eventually, inshallah, get to a level that we have our own news channel, where we can portray these things.
Yeah, because don't you think that all this Western media and whatever the media that we talk about that has been held by Jewish mostly, the 90% is the Jewish. How big a role media has been done, to portray Israel issue or the Muslims, and shown Israel as an aggressor in this particular. Shown them victim rather than aggressor in this particular conflict,
Oh yeah, definitely. It's all. If you get back to the business basics, it's all about marketing. Israel, if it was a company, markets itself amazingly, has its resources, has all the media. What they want to tell you is what you're going to hear. The things they're not telling you, you're not going to hear, or they're going to twist it in a way to make themselves look like the victim, like you're saying. So I'm not saying to be doing it in such a conniving way. We need to come out and speak the truth because we believe this is the way of life. We believe this is Sirat al-Mustaqim. So all we got to do is show it, and then let the people see. This is what's happening in Pakistan. This is what's happening in different countries, and let them be aware. How many U.S. organizations are just out here? Let's go help the people in Africa. Why? Because they heard about the African stories. They don't know about our stories. They don't have organizations that We're on the way driving here. I saw a car wash for AIDS in Africa. They come and do a car wash, and the proceeds will go to AIDS in Africa because they're aware of these issues. Our issues are kept hidden inside, or we let the news tell our issues, and that's not the proper message. That's not the whole.
But the Muslim world, the poverty in the Muslim world and all that. Do you think that America or anybody else, the Western world, is responsible for that?
No, that's something that the government.
Our leadership should take some steps, obviously, which they haven't, taken in the last 100 years or whatever, whatever that is. So that's not. Is that America also?
No, these are back, like I said before. Allah won't change the condition of a people unless they change the condition of themselves. So it's up to the Pakistani Muslims to become better people.
Not only Pakistani Muslims,
the leadership too.
Right.
Oh yeah, I was giving a small example. Right. So this thing will go to every nation. Every nation. It will work for Turkey, work for Saudis, whatever. There's Muslims in general. In their smaller community that they're in, they work on themselves. That will either, if everyone's focusing on that, eventually it's going to get back to the way it should be. You won't have poor neighbors. There was a time when the Muslim Ummah that the zakat money, there was so much that there was no more poor people to give the money to anymore. The 2.5%, the very little money that we're giving for zakat was enough to take care of the poor. They had excess money, and at the time what happened, that's when we started building all these fancy masjids and stuff, because we had excess money, because that's when it got to that point. it can get back to the point. I don't say go as far as building all these fancy masjids and stuff like that, but to the point of not having to worry about the poverty. We will be accountable for our neighbors that are sitting at home if they don't have food to drink or things to eat. But we're all about me, and not about everybody, So that's.
So we should think about it as a whole nation, as a Muslim ummah, rather than a country.
Yeah, a Palestinian person is sick and hurting. It should the least you should feel is bad about it. There's three things that from hadith I heard. I might misquote a little bit, but the first thing you should do if something bad happens, you should physically try to stop it. If you can't do it physically, you do it with your words. And the least thing you can do is feel bad about it in your heart. And if you don't feel any of these three for a Muslim in pain, even a person in pain, and doesn't mean if they're Muslim or not. Any human, animal, whatever the case is, humanity as a whole is in pain, and you don't feel bad about it. You're just like, okay, that's not my problem. It's all the way over there. Don't worry about it. Then there's something wrong with our inner selves that we need to work on.
All these acts, they're not only in Palestine. If we see in Kashmir, the Indian occupied Kashmir, if we see these issues in Bosnia, these issues in Afghanistan and Iraq, it's like everywhere. It's not only Palestine.
It's definitely. So, like I was saying before, everything happens for a reason. So these are tests from Allah. Everything that happens is a test. So either we can choose to blame the buck on somebody else and say, it's not our fault, Israel did this, Pakistan government is doing this. It's us as Muslims to get back on the straight path. That will fix this. Allah's test saying either you can go worse with this and use to blame on others, or you can do something about it.
How are we gonna start acting towards it though?
We're gonna talk about this after a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. We have Muhammad Nadeem Saab from Pakistan online with us. Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad Nadeem Saab. Welcome to the show. Nadeem Saab, can you hear us? Muhammad Nadeem Saab, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Muhammad Nadeem is one of the guys who have been following this, the flotilla issue, and and he was with the media too in Pakistan. So we're going to ask him the exact situation that what happened in flotilla. Muhammad Nadeem Saab, if you can please tell us about this issue, we can about the Israel and specifically about the flotilla.
Well, first of all, whatever was done with Israel was totally a barbaric act. In the international waters, they were not supposed to be. They were not supposed to be existing anywhere in the international waters, where they just showed up all of a sudden early in the morning, and they came and they killed 9 people like they are the honors of the world, and they can do anything. They have that whatever we